Welcome to Chris Black, the podcast. I'm your host, Chris Black, and I'm glad you decided to press play and join us to see what the show is all about. Today is my tribute to broadcasting. This will be an hour of fun as if it were heard on the radio. This is my morning talk show, as it were. So to learn more about the show, head on over to podpage.com/Chris Black. There you can keep up with the current happenings of the show, connect with me on social media, and so much more. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get started. Welcome back to the first segment of Chris Black, the podcast. And if you've got kids, you know the fun of hosting birthday parties, going to birthday parties, and of course interacting with, other parents and kids and things of that nature. And 4th of July weekend is always a busy time for us. And usually it's because my son's birthday is on the 3rd of July and my wife's birthday is on the 4th of July. So we get hammered pretty good with birthdays in a very short period of time, but we absolutely enjoy it. We think it's, we're used to it. It's kind of what we've known now for 14 years. So, gosh, it's hard to imagine, but I can remember years ago trying to figure out, what do we do for birthdays? And, Christopher always enjoyed having a birthday party and people coming over and things of that nature. And Skylar was kind of like, yeah, I could take the people or leave him. He didn't really matter. It didn't matter to him. And I will say, for the most part, birthday parties when the kids are, let's say, under the age of 3, it's not for the kids. It's for the parents 100%. And I'm guilty of that. I absolutely enjoyed that time I spent, with the people in my kids' lives around that time. And Christopher's first birthday was such a miracle. It was a blowout. We had a lot of people come and celebrate his first birthday with us, and including my mother, my grandmother. He had a couple of his nurses from the NICU join us. It was absolutely just phenomenal. We had such a great time. And I think after that, we just kind of kept it rolling. And I know every now and then, my wife decided to be slick. Oh, we're going to have it at, at the trampoline place or fill in the blank place. We actually did it at a Taekwondo studio one year, and which was really cool. I mean, who doesn't want to give a 4-year-old a sword to cut his cake with? I mean, it was definitely worth the price of admission. But children's birthday parties have always fascinated me. Just the differences in the kids' personalities and things of that nature. It's just, I don't know why, but to me it's a pretty incredible experience. So we didn't do a whole lot as far as we had a little small gathering, a few people come over, and I mean a few, and grilled out some turkey dogs and turkey burgers on the old flat top griddle. Man, I love that thing. It's awesome. But we're we had our folks over and we celebrated with we did cupcakes instead of regular cake. And of course, we did we did some gifts and exchange cards and so forth. But Christopher invited over who he wanted to come, and they showed up, and it was just, I think he had 2 friends over, and the rest were pretty much family. So he wanted to kind of keep it simple, which is good. I'm glad we're kind of to that phase as far as the birthdays go. But he really racked up on the tech side of the world. My mother doesn't believe me when I tell her this, but if she could just live in my house for a week, she'd understand. She gives him the best gifts, whatever he wants within reason. I mean, the pony was never going to happen, but within reason, she'll hook him up. So he got this really nice Samsung gaming monitor that she gave him, and that was it. He loves that thing. And, of course, he decided to upgrade his technology a little bit for his birthday. That was his big thing. So I think he kind of gets that from me because I enjoy the technology side of the world. But he upgraded his microphone, and he's got a really cool setup going, for his gaming setup, and he's doing some stuff on YouTube and things like that. So he's kind of inspired me in a roundabout kind of a way to kind of get it together. But at the end of the day, we had a phenomenal weekend. I got some yard work done. Whoever invented the pole saw should be smacked because it gets me in so much trouble. And my neighbor introduced me to the pole saw years ago, and my friend Keith has a pole saw that he just gives me when I ask him for it. And I'm going to tell you, I hate the pole saw because I'll get out there to trim a branch, and then I'm like, gotta make that go back. That one's out of place too. I gotta get this one. Next thing you know, I have half a forest down in my yard, and I gotta do something with it. So I've got a stack that's probably 8 to 10 feet wide, a solid 6 feet tall. I have no idea how deep it is, but it'll go on a trailer at some point, and we're going to take it down to a friend of ours and dump every bit of it in a burn pile, and they're going to make it go away. So thank goodness for great friends with burn piles. But Skylar, that was on Saturday. Like, that was the beginning of our busy weekend. Skylar said, "Dad, you're going to feel it tomorrow. You're going to hate yourself for doing all that." I said, "Son, let me tell you, Saturdays are for getting stuff done that you want to get done, baby." Like, that's what it's all about. I have been doing outdoor work this summer since it's been warm, really, and I really dig being outside. So for me, it was just kind of a natural progression, if you will. So once he understood and realized that I kind of, was really digging the outdoors thing, it really wasn't that big of a deal. But it was a great weekend. It really was. Tales from the greatest decade, Toys R Us. Before the days of online shopping, Amazon and eBay, we could only watch our dream toys on the television commercials, but there was only one, maybe two places to put your hands on those toys, and Toys R Us was one of those places. As soon as you pulled into the parking lot, you would see the brightly colored letters, and Jeffrey the Giraffe would welcome you in with his creepy smile. You would enter through the corridor that would introduce you to the toys of the day and show you all of the new and exciting things no one else had ever seen before. There were aisles stacked floor to ceiling with every toy ever known to exist, and people with colorful name tags there to make your dreams come true. They had He-Man, She-Ra, Spider-Man, electric cars, walkie-talkies, dolls that made noises and even talked, video games, portable sound effects machines with microphones, spy gear, and so much more. They even had things to try out and play with right there in the store, and they wanted you to have fun and make noise. Children did many things to earn the privilege of going to Toys R Us, and those goods would be taken from you if you misbehaved. We knew we would spend hours, even days with these toys. One toy could literally make your entire summertime. Sadly, those days are over with, and our kids today will never know the joy of Toys R Us and the Christmas catalog that would come to follow. Welcome back. It's 7 minutes past the top of the hour, and I can't go any further without mentioning one of our great sponsors, and it's also my day job, Darden Communications Consultants Incorporated, also known as DCCI. We've been serving Central Alabama since 1994 with the best in GPS tracking, push-to-talk two-way radios, and dash cameras. Call us today to find out how we can help your company get more done and mind your own business. That's right, 334-780-1112 to learn more about how we can help your business communicate, or visit us on the World Wide Web at www.dccicom.com. That's www.dccicom.com. Give us a call, check us out on the web. We'd love to help you any way that we can. So that's Darden Communications Consultants Incorporated. So after the busy weekend, or one of the things we accomplished on our busy weekend, was we got to watch the 2 episodes of Stranger Things. And of course, we thought they were going to wrap the show up I don't really know why we thought that, but we were under the impression they were going to be wrapping the show, and so I kind of, was getting a little excited with the fact that we had some new things going on, and I figured we were going to come to an end, and kind of find out that's really just not what happened. So kind of, in a lot of ways, it was really exciting. It was a pretty intense show, and I have a rule when it comes to series. We only watch things that are done and over with, and there's no more. But unfortunately, several years ago, I made the mistake of picking up this fun and exciting show, and it's taken forever to get to the finale, and I just hate waiting. But it's all good. So I was thumbing through the old Facebook after the fact, and I discovered that you can actually go visit some of the sets of Stranger Things. Who knew? So some of the locations for Stranger Things are actually about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours away from where I live, depending on how you want to go. And most of these things are they film in small towns and areas around Atlanta, Georgia, which I thought was pretty interesting. So the main town of Hawking is actually filmed in a real life town of Jackson, which is southeast of Atlanta, which I didn't know. And then locations like the was it Melvods, or however you say it, the general store and the public library and the post office are all based there as well. The fictional homes of Mike Wheeler and Will Byers and Dustin Henderson and Lucas Sinclair are located in an area, I believe it's called East Point, along a stretch of roadway called Piney Road Drive. And East Point is also home to the Hawkins General Hospital. I had no idea. The other locations included the middle school, which is located in Stockbridge, at the former Patrick Henry High School, which is located on South Lee Street. These are all awesome places I'm going to have to look up and just go see at some point. And then the police station is located, I think it's called Douglas, I don't know, some strange spelling of Douglasville City Hall. And the diner where we first met 11 is called Tiffany's Kitchen, and that's located in Lithia Springs. So if you want to check out some of the things, like the supermarket, for example, is actually Bradley's Big Buy in Palmetto. And then the laboratory where 11 was once held captive, I guess you would say, is located at the Briarcliff campus of Emory University off Briarcliff Road. So they're actually like physical locations. It's actually pretty interesting that you can go see these places. A friend of mine I went to high school with actually did this in real life, went to visit some of these places and took pictures, and I was impressed with the fact that this was not really that far from me. So I enjoy the show, and I've kind of gotten into wanting to travel a little bit more, and that's kind of a day trip, really. I mean, I can probably leave out of here at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, drive over, snap a couple of pictures, visit these places, and be on my merry way. But if you just do a quick Google search, all of those places I actually found, and I love the word actually apparently, all of those places I found doing a quick Google search of locations that the series was actually filmed. I had no idea these were real life places. I mean, I figured they were probably set somewhere, or it was set in an area, but I did not know it was down the street from where I live. So definitely interested in checking that out at some point. So if you've got some time, or if you're in the Georgia area, around Atlanta specifically, and got some time to monkey with, definitely swing by some of these areas and snap some pictures. And who knows how long these places will be there, but that's pretty awesome. I definitely want to go check it out, and maybe I'll do see if I can't do a broadcast from one of the sets. So definitely swing by and check it out. Stick around, we've got more to come right after this. Welcome back to Legends from the greatest decade of all times, and if you're new, it's the 1980s. The roller rink. In the days before electronics and unsocial media, the children would interact directly without the use of electronics. We would go to this magical place called the skating rink. This was a place that would require athleticism only found on Fridays and Saturday nights. Skating required great skill and grace, as roller skating was not the easiest thing to do. Most of us would put on our brown rented skates with the orange wheels on our feet with the fresh socks our parents made sure that we had, and we'd begin to skate in a large oval shape together, holding hands, interlocking arms, and even pushing each other to go faster and faster. We would socialize and enjoy the company of our friends and the other children who happened to be there. Then at some point the DJ would come on the mic and clear the rink. We'd play various games such as red light, green light, the hokey pokey, and of course limbo while on skates, because why not? We would skate, socialize, buy candy, and play in the arcade for what seemed like hours on end. Who could forget the drama when your crush would skate with somebody else, or two boys would get into a disagreement over a dice game? Ah, the skating rink, where men became boys and our parents took a break for at least a little while. Welcome back. It's 14 minutes past the hour, and before we go any further, let me enlighten you on a little thing called Fleet Locate. That's right, GPS and asset tracking for your business that allows you to know where your vehicles and assets are at all times. You can do vehicle maintenance, track your employees, and also know where and when things are getting done with your organization. Visit www.dccicom.com for more, or give us a call at 334-780-1112. So by now you've probably noticed there's a little bit of a different feel with the old podcast. It kind of has, I guess a little more, professionalism sprinkled behind it. And that's kind of what I'm after. I got started with the podcast as something I wanted to do, wanted to kind of document things going on in my life, not just for myself, but, share it with maybe others that have things going on in their lives. And, I started off with an app and a cell phone, and that was cool. And it's still pretty cool. I enjoy it. But what I'm trying to do now is kind of, put this together a little bit better and grow the audience and help people to, hear the message that I have. And, the message is pretty simple at this point. I'm just a man living a life. I've been through some things, and I'm just sharing experiences with you. So one of the things I want to share with you today is kind of my journey with the podcast aspect of what I'm doing and kind of how I've gotten here. And first and foremost, let me just say I have no formal journalism, broadcasting, fill-in-the-blank experience for most people that make a living on the radio, television, things of that nature. The other thing I'm quickly learning is that podcasting is a complementary extension to most people's businesses, which is great, but that translates into no dinero, which means they're not doing it for money, which is fine. I do this because I enjoy it, and maybe one day you'll come across something that you're listening to with me, and you're like, wow, that really resonates with me, or I thought that before, and that's kind of why I do this. So the takeaway with this is I do it because I enjoy it. However many, subscribers and listeners and interactions I have, that's fine. If it's one, that's one that I didn't have last week. If it's 101, hey, that's awesome. And I really do appreciate the feedback that I'm getting regarding the show. And so I do want to give you a quality product. I do want to give you that time when you and I spend time together. I want you to say, wow, he really put some thought into it. It's not just thrown together. And these are things that, some of these things drive me nuts, and I just want to get them off my chest. But I'm learning that I'm not the only ones. So like the last segment, we discussed the Stranger Things. Some people hate the show. Some people have never seen it. But good to know there's something awesome like that around the corner from me. So I will definitely have to get that on my list of things to do, maybe when it cools off and it's not just, ridiculously hot. But anyway, so journey's moving along. Kind of feeling a little bit different today with the weekend. I say weekend, it really... I don't know. It feels like the month of June it just kind of came and went, and it was full of days off, which is really kind of strange. We're celebrating a lot of things in a short period of time. Memorial Day was awesome. That was kind of the kickoff to the summer. Boom, let's get it done. No problem. Then we get into, the Father's Day, Juneteenth weekend, which was, awesome. And that Monday we had off. And then, 2 weeks later, we got the 4th of July, Independence Day, and here we are kicking it. And I don't know when you're hearing the show, but it's the 7th of July. 7 days have come and gone. Wow, who knew? And in the blink of an eye, it's over with. So, little rant, now that we're kind of on the topic. Good friend of mine and his wife bought a beautiful home. It's like a museum, I swear. It's decorated real nice, and she was real particular about what she put in, which I thought was pretty awesome. And they decided at one point they wanted to invest in a swimming pool. And I've learned a lot about pools with this particular friend, and I'm sure she's probably listening, so I don't want to give up too much. But swimming pools are a pain in the ass, especially when you get into the cost, the maintenance, and all the fun stuff that goes along with having a swimming pool. Now, if you're like me, I just assumed that you put a hole in the ground, put some concrete, get you some furniture, you got a luau every other weekend, jump in and swim, bing, bang, done, and that's it. They have proven to me that my theory about swimming pools is in fact entirely inaccurate. Let me explain. So, let's say 2 years ago they had a new pool liner put in, which I thought I'd never understood the process. Now I know. All right, awesome. Last year they had something to do with the pump filter. I don't remember, but anyway, something to do with all that pipery and plumbing and foolishness that plugs into electrical by the house. The big round pumps and all that fun stuff. So I'm like, all right, cool. Uncharted territory, but they got a new pump or whatever. I don't really understand or know what it is specifically. So back in the end of April, beginning of May, somewhere, and don't quote me on the time frame, they had a problem with the pump. And of course my buddy is like, you mind swinging over here and let's take a look. I'm like, yeah, man, cool, no problem. So I look, we figure, and we start off with a flux capacitor, which I thought was something from Back to the Future, but I digress. He gets that, swaps it out, nothing. I'm like, all right, well, that's cool. So it's been over a month. The plan was to go swimming for Memorial Day. Memorial Day is come and gone. 4th of July is come and gone. The summer, we're on the downside of the hill, so to speak. So the summers are starting to get shorter now. The days are anyway. And summer's not over. We got plenty of summer left. But the point is, this is not his fault. Let me just say this right now. The fact that his pool pump or whatever it is that's causing the issue, I think it's the pump, is not working is not his fault. It is not for lack of effort, let me tell you. I pointed him in the direction of an electrician. The electrician happens to be somebody who works near my shop. The electrician went out there, yeah, we'll get you squared away. No problem. Never happened. He was supposed to come back, he never came back. Breakdown of communication, whatever. Takes the motor to the small motor's place. Yeah, it should be purring like a kitten, yada, yada, yada. We get another electrician that actually shows up. Yeah, it's not the electrical part, that's fine, it's the pump, so get this checked out. So he gets back, the pump, and they got to check this and do that, and it's been back and forth, and it's been an arduous process every single time somebody has to come out. And remember, every time you deal with this, you're paying somebody, and that's the part that drives me nuts. So not only is the pump not working like it's supposed to, but the people kind of, sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. It's insane. So the point of all this is, I don't know what happened, but at some point, customer service-based companies decided that they were just going to do what needed to be done when they got around to it. And I understand they're busy, they need to prioritize. I understand that. But the communications factor has broken down. There's no more communications, it seems like. And I blame technology for that. And the reason I blame technology for that is back in the day, if you called a heating and air company, I know this. I had a friend of mine whose dad owned a heating and air company in Atmore. They'd ring up the phone. Hi, you're having difficulty. Okay, what's the address? All right, and ask a few questions. We'll be there by 3:00. They were there by 3:00. If for some reason it changed, hey, we can't make it at 3. We'll be there at 3:30. All right, fantastic. So you had somebody in an office to answer the phone. That's their entire job, was making sure that the technicians had what they needed, the customers had what they needed, and they were the go-between between the two, essentially. I don't see that in a lot of places anymore. A lot of these people have put the phone in their pocket with the cell phones and so forth, and the customer service side of it's kind of replaced with texting and emails and all that, and that's kind of like we've taken all these things for granted, and now what used to be such a simple process has made everything complicated, and it's not great. It sucks, period. So if anybody knows anybody who can get something done to getting a pool fixed, maybe if he hadn't got it fixed by then, I'll pass along the information. Certainly shoot me a message on that, because I tell you what, I'd like to see. And I also discovered my love for cleaning pools. I was helping brush the bottom and clean out with the little net and all that, which I really enjoy, by the way. So that's pretty neat. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Stick around. Welcome back. It is now 26 minutes past the top of the hour, and I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you about our good friend Cam Coach. Cam Coach, what is that? It's a dash cam that mounts in your company vehicle that allows your employees to be coached at the drop of a hat. Does it automatically. There's no interaction. He doesn't call in sick. He doesn't play favorites. He's always there to help out. Visit www.dccicom under the products tab and learn more about the Cam Coach. All right, so we're going to round up our final segment today. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that are going on in the world these days. Most importantly, gas prices and what can you do to save money on gas? Well, here's the deal. I'm not an expert. I did sleep at Holiday Inn Express one time, although it's been many years. But there are some simple common sense things that I can share with you as a former roadside assistant technician that will help you save fuel. First thing you want to do is don't fill up when it's hot outside. 5 o'clock in the afternoon, your car's been marinating in the parking lot. It's getting a little sunshiny and healthy. No, you don't want to do that. That's a really not the best time, if I'm being honest with you, to get gas. It's scientific. It has to do with the molecules and this and that and yada, yada, yada. But it's just you don't want to do that. And also, the tanks in the ground when they're warmer, again, you don't get it's not as dense. You want that dense gasoline to kind of, get the job done. That's one of the easiest things. So first thing in the morning when it's cool out, that's when I like to try to get my fuel if at all possible. You can't always, but hey, it is what it is. Next thing I like to tell people is tire inflation is important to your vehicle's overall maintenance, but it also affects your fuel economy. If you're supposed to have 38 PSI in your tires and you got 32, doesn't seem like a big deal, but go look at your tires. Stand behind your vehicle and look at how much of that rubber is making contact with the road. Here's a little secret that nobody wants you to know, but I'll tell you. The more rubber that's on the road, the worse your fuel economy is going to be, period. If they're inflated properly, you'll be all right. If you've got a lot of extra rubber laid on the road, 28, 30 PSI, yeah, you're wearing your tires pretty good, and that's no fun for anybody. And you're also getting poor fuel economy. But hey, do what you got to do. I mean, it's not hard to check. Most cars will tell you on the dash what your PSI are. All right, the next one. When I heard this, I kind of got a chuckle because it's kind of common sense, but I guess there's no such thing as common sense anymore. Get rid of that junk in the trunk. I don't care if you got an SUV, if you got a Honda Civic, pickup truck, it doesn't matter. The more weight you're carrying around, obviously, it's going to affect your fuel economy. It's different when you got 4 people riding a car. That's fine. You do what you got to do. But when you got 4 people and a bunch of crap in the trunk, or you got, tiles or tools, things that weigh a lot, that's more that, your car's got to carry around. Think about it like this. If you go for a walk around the block and it's just you, and you got on your basketball shorts and maybe a tank top, something nice and cool, something breathable, and your sneakers, and you go around the block, that's awesome. That's easy, right? Now, that same trip, let's say you have a 55-inch television that you're carrying in your arms. Kind of cumbersome, but that makes that trip around the block a little more arduous. It makes it a little more complicated because you got the weight, and you got size to contend with and all that, but your car only knows that extra weight is causing a problem. So it's going to take a little more out of it. Oil changes are a big thing. If you get your oil change done on a regular basis like you're supposed to, that will actually help your fuel economy, believe it or not. The engine's working at peak performance. The lubrication on the engine parts is, again, very efficient. So you're going to get more fuel economy out of your fuel that way. And the other part of this equation is where you purchase your fuel does actually make a difference in your fuel economy. If you have fuels that have a lot of additives and detergents and extras and things like that, it's basically filling space, and your vehicle is going to burn it a little faster, with more combustibles in it, than if you have something that is, 87 octane, for example, but doesn't have as much in it. So you got to think about this. If you have, my truck has a 24-gallon tank. I can only put 24 gallons in my tank. It is what it is. So the space that I'm taking up with detergents and other things, while they may help my engine, and that's great, it's taken away from my fuel, my fuel space. I can only put 24 gallons of fuel in my tank. So check with the manufacturer of your automobile. Make sure you're putting the appropriate fuel in your vehicle. I've heard the argument all my life, if you use better grade fuel, it lasts longer and all that, and that's true in some cases. But for example, my wife drives an Acura, and it recommends you put high grade, 93 octane, but it's okay to use 87 octane until you realize how much faster that 87 octane actually burns. So my wife has decided, even though the cost of gas has gotten outrageous, she still puts premium in, and it seems to perform better, and the fuel economy is much better. So those are kind of a few, common sense tips as far as the vehicle goes. Now, here's the other side of it. Every time you drive, your mileage obviously is going to be affected for obvious reasons. So when you have a list of things to take care of, let's say, your kids have soccer practice, and you got another one that's got taekwondo, and then you got to go by and pick up dinner and all those fun things. Man, plan your afternoon, plan your day, even plan your week. Get as much done as you can in a short amount of time, but you'll gain more of your time back. So you're not constantly having to, go over here and go over here and go back here and backtrack and all that kind of mess. I mean, it's, some of it's kind of common sense, but some of it's things that we don't think about. I've got so many things to do in a day, and, I run a business. So if got my day planned out, which I do, like when I'm prospecting, for example, or if I'm going to see a client, I'll go to other prospects around my existing client just to save time and effort for obvious reasons. It makes sense. I'm already there. So these are just little, tidbit things to kind of think about and consider going forward. And I really believe that, gas prices, we freak out when gas prices are higher. Oh, it's $4.50 a gallon. It's $5.12. It's, if you're a diesel owner, good night. You're paying over $5 a gallon. Boy, howdy, that's a difference. And in a lot of cases, diesel engines don't get great fuel economy because it's not like they're in a Ford Focus. You understand? It's in a F-350, or it's in an international, dump truck, or fill in the blank, man. Diesel prices are outrageous. So we freak out about that kind of stuff. And then what happens when it gets back down to our comfort zone? We get down to $2.50, $3, or even $3.50. Like, oh, that's not too bad. We'll drive around for fun. We'll leave the air riding, rolling while we're in the store getting something or whatever. It's like we get used to saving, and then we get out of those habits because it's like it doesn't really affect us as much as it used to. We'll get in the habit of not using as much fuel or doing these things to, not just save money on fuel, but it gives you more time back in your life. And let me tell you, every day is absolutely precious. So, take the time, a few minutes to kind of figure out, get into some better habits of, going where you got to go, work, things like that. And, with a little thought and, a little more effort, maybe you can save some money at the pump. Hey, do what you got to do, right? Join me in our next segment as we wrap things up and get ready for the week ahead. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I really had a good time. I hope you enjoyed the new format and the new things that are going on here at Chris Black, the podcast. I had a lot of fun, and it's definitely a little bit different. It's a little more effort involved, but I think it's going to be a little bit better for all parties involved. But hey, I want to talk to you about growing the show a little bit. Visit podpage.com/Chris Black. That's podpage.com/Chris Black to learn more about the show, find out upcoming events, and also connect with me on social media. It's so important that we continue to build and grow, and we've done really well so far with your help. So I want to thank you so much for all of your support, your 5-star reviews, and just sharing me with your friends and family. And I hope to keep doing this for a while to come. Until next week and next time, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.